Hello, thinkers! This is the recap for Andor Season 2. A year has passed since the Ferrix uprising. Cassian Andor is tasked with a covert mission to impersonate an Imperial test pilot and steal a prototype of the Empire's new fighter, the TIE Avenger. He succeeds, but arrives at the delivery point, a jungle moon later revealed as Yavin 4, only to be ambushed by the Maya Pei Brigade, a rogue rebel cell. The group's internal conflicts lead to a shootout, and Cassian is taken hostage. Meanwhile, on the agricultural planet Mina Rao, Bix Kaleen, Brasso, Wilmon Pak, and B2EMO hide from the Empire, working undocumented for a local farmer. Bix struggles with PTSD from Gorst's torture in Season 1. On Chandrila, Mon Mothma prepares for her daughter Leda's arranged marriage to Stekan Skuldan, son of a powerful criminal leader, Davo Skuldan. She learns from her banker, Tay Kolma, that his investments have failed, threatening her financial cover for the rebellion. Meanwhile, Orson Krennic convenes a secret meeting of Imperial officers to discuss mining Gorman's rare mineral resources, a project that could devastate the planet. Dedra Miro is reluctantly assigned to oversee this initiative. On Yavin 4, Cassian remains a prisoner as the Maya Pei Brigade fractures into two warring factions, locked in a stalemate. The group's infighting distracts them, allowing Cassian to escape in the stolen TIE Avenger. On Mina Rao, Imperial officers arrive to audit workers' papers, forcing Bix, Brasso, and Wilman to plan a hasty relocation to avoid detection. On Coruscant, Dedra and Cyril Karn, now living together as a couple, prepare for a long-delayed social event. On Chandrila, as Leda's wedding preparations conclude, Mon Mothma discusses Tay Kolma's potential defection with Luthen Rael. Luthen suggests finding out what it would cost to ensure Tay's silence about the rebellion. Cassian contacts Clea Markey, Luthen's operative, and learns of the danger facing his friends on Mina Rao. On Coruscant, Dedra and Cyril host Cyril's mother Edie for dinner. Edie's relentless belittling of Cyril prompts Dedra to set firm boundaries. On Chandrila, Leda marries Stekan Skuldan in a lavish ceremony followed by a reception. On Mina Rao, as the Ferrix group prepares to flee, Imperial Lieutenant Kroll attempts to rape Bix. She kills him in a violent struggle. The situation escalates, and Brasso is fatally shot by a stormtrooper. Cassian arrives in the TIE Avenger, eliminates the Imperial squad, and escapes with Bix and Wilman. Luthen, unable to secure Tay Kolma's loyalty, informs Mon Mothma that he has ordered Tay's assassination. The distressed Mothma drinks heavily and dances at the reception, while Vel Sartha watches Chintakaz execute Tay. 1 year later, Cassian and Bix, now seasoned operatives for Luthen, hide on Coruscant. Bix suffers from nightmares of Gorst's torture and secretly uses illegal substances to cope. On Gorman, the Empire begins constructing an armory to exploit the planet's resources. Cyril, backed by Dedra and Major Partagaz, takes a post in Gorman's capital, Palmo, posing as a sympathizer to infiltrate the local rebels. Luthen learns from his spy, Lonnie Young, that Dedra is covertly operating on Gorman and sends Cassian to evaluate the rebels. Wilmon is assigned to train Pluti, a lieutenant under Saw Gerrera, to operate a rhydonium extractor for a planned fuel heist. Mon Mothma fails to block a Senate bill expanding the ISB's powers. Clea discovers that Davo Skuldan plans to search Luthen's gallery after identifying a forged artifact, risking exposure of a bug planted there. She must remove it during Skuldan's investiture party. On Gorman, Cassian meets the local rebels and learns of their plan to hijack an Imperial weapons shipment. Deeming them unprepared, he vetoes the operation, frustrating the group. Cyril reports the planned heist to Dedra and Partagaz, who decide to allow it to proceed to manipulate the rebels. Saw Gerrera executes Pluti after uncovering his betrayal, and Wilman takes over the rhydonium extraction for the heist. Cassian argues with Luthen after learning he tried to pull Bix back into active duty behind his back. Luthen criticizes Cassian's lack of vision and sends Vel and Cinta to assist the Gorman rebels. Vel and Cinta rekindle their romance during the mission. The weapons heist succeeds, but a rebel disobeys Vel's orders, bringing a blaster and accidentally killing Cinta when a bystander intervenes, leaving Vel devastated. At Skuldun's investiture party, Krennic and Mon Mothma debate war ethics, while Kleya uses Jung as a distraction to remove the bug. Bix and Cassian infiltrate Gorst's new office. Bix uses his torture device on him, and Cassian remotely destroys the facility as they escape. Another year passes. The rebels have established a base on Yavin 4, where Cassian and Bix now reside. Willman informs Cassian that Dedra is on Gorman, where the Empire's actions are being framed as responses to terrorist rebel activity. Willman urges Cassian to help assassinate Dedra. Despite reservations about Luthen's orders, Cassian agrees and travels to Gorman with Willman. A Force-sensitive healer tells Bix that Cassian is crucial to the rebellion. On Gorman, Dedra's authority is temporarily usurped by Captain Kaido, sent by Partagaz to escalate Imperial control. Cyril begins questioning Dedra's narrative about external agitators after interacting with the rebels. Kaido orchestrates a protest in Palmo's central square, blocking exits and deploying inexperienced riot police to provoke violence. Cyril, among the protesters, is horrified by the Empire's tactics and confronts Dedra in her office, demanding the truth about Gorman. Dedra, following Partagaz's orders, reluctantly commands troops to fire on the crowd, sparking a deadly clash between rebels and Imperials. Protesters are massacred by blaster fire and KX security droids unleashed by Kaido. Cassian attempts to snipe Dedra from her office, but is intercepted by Cyril. In the ensuing fight, Cyril is killed by Caro Rylans, the Gorman rebel leader. The rebels disable a KX droid using an armored transport, and Cassian escapes with it. Willman stays behind to help his girlfriend, Drina, broadcast the massacre to the galaxy. Dedra and Edie grapple with their losses as Imperial media blames outside agitators. The Empire frames the Gorman massacre as a terrorist insurgency, justifying troop deployment and civilian relocation. Mon Mothma decides to publicly denounce Emperor Palpatine, preparing to flee to Yavin 4. Bail Organa opts to remain on Coruscant to support the rebellion covertly. Luthen learns from Jung that Organa's security team is compromised, and assigns Cassian to escort Mon Mothma from Coruscant. After delivering a powerful Senate speech condemning the Empire, Mothma escapes with Cassian's help, who eliminates a spy in Organa's team and her compromised driver, Chloris. Mothma briefly stays in a Coruscant safehouse to align publicly with the rebellion before joining Cassian and an injured Willman on Yavin 4. Cassian plans to start a new life with Bix, but she leaves him a message urging him to stay with the rebellion and promising to find him after their victory. The rebel technicians reprogram the captured KX droid, naming it K2SO. 1 year later, Lonnie Young accesses Dedra's files, uncovering a secret Imperial project, the Death Star. He informs Luthen, warning that Dedra may have identified them both. Luthen kills Young to protect the rebellion and briefs Kleya, asking her to relay the information. As Luthen destroys his shop's comms, Dedra confronts him. Luthen stabs himself to avoid interrogation, but is hospitalized. Kleya sneaks into the hospital and disconnects his life support. Flashbacks reveal Luthen was an Imperial officer who defected after his unit massacred Kleya's village. He rescued her, and they began fighting the Empire while posing as antique dealers. Dedra is arrested by the ISB for withholding information and sent to a prison like Narkina 5. Kleya, hiding in a Coruscant safehouse, sends a distress signal received by Willman, who recruits Cassian, Melshi, and K2SO to rescue her, defying rebel leadership. Dedra is interrogated by Krennic and Hurt. She provides insight into Luthen's communications, leading Hurt to track Kleya. As Imperial forces close in, Cassian and Melshi reach Kleya, who reveals the Death Star's existence, but chooses to stay behind due to distrust from Yavin 4's leadership. K2SO attacks the Imperials, killing Hert and his team, but Kleya is gravely wounded. Cassian, Melshi, and K2SO return Kleya to Yavin 4, where they are grounded by Bail Organa for disobedience. Rebel leaders, skeptical of Luthen's intel, hesitate, but Mon Mothma listens to Clea. Vel convinces Cassian of Luthen's loyalty, and they toast their fallen comrades. Partagaz, facing arrest, commits suicide, while Dedra languishes in prison. A rebel informant linked to Saw Gerrera contacts Yavin 4, insisting on meeting Cassian. Convinced by mounting evidence, the leadership allows Cassian and K2SO to travel to Kafrene to meet the informant. Clea integrates into Yavin 4's operations with Wilmon, Mon, and Vel. On Mina Rao, B2EMO plays with another droid as Bix, cradling a baby, gazes at the horizon. This concludes the end of Andor Season 2, and ties in with the 2016 Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, when you think movies, think recap.